Trafficking of wildlife is the fourth biggest illegal activity worldwide, behind only arms, drugs, and human trafficking. It devastates species, ecosystems, communities, and even helps drive climate change. Insufficient cooperation between global law enforcement plays into criminal hands. Shifting trade routes, trafficking techniques, and target species requires a coordinated response from officials, not just within countries, but across borders.
Criminals make use of loopholes and lack of information sharing and collaboration between countries.
If we're not talking to each other, it's very difficult to keep track of these people, and they're 10 times ahead of us each time.
And no person or an institution or country is self-sustained. Crimes now is cross borders.
IWT is international in nature. You cannot fight it alone as a country.
You'll find departments working separately. And there is also a lack of information sharing among the country stakeholders. Unfortunately, we drag behind the criminals.
Well, agencies are not always aware that their country is playing a role in illegal wildlife trade.
They normally work in silos, They were not collaborating and sharing information. And it caused an increase of transnational wildlife crimes between countries. So TWIX came on board to bridge that gap, to facilitate information sharing and stimulate collaboration among law enforcement agencies in order to fight against illegal wildlife trade.
The Trade and Wildlife Information Exchanges are online platforms and tools that connect thousands of wildlife management and enforcement officials across different agencies and countries. There are individual platforms for Europe, as well as for Central, West, East, and Southern Africa.
TWIX is like a package consisting of the mailing list for real-time information sharing, but also the website.
The TWIX websites provide a wealth of wildlife-specific resources and data, including identification guides, legislative information, and other tools to support wildlife enforcement. The TWIX mailing lists are a rapid and secure method for enlisted officials from across countries to collaborate on active investigations, wildlife seizures, and prosecutions.
Without coming together as one, we cannot fight these crimes because the perpetrators are working jointly together and they are ahead of us. And when you are a member of TWIX, it's easy, especially on the identification of species.
The different TWIX networks are exceptional in providing assistance with identification.
Imagine a law enforcement personnel in his day-to-day work. He encountered a wildlife item, but at looking at it, he cannot identify it. But he can take a photo and share it within TWIX, where the rest of the law enforcement personnel who have joined TWIX can see that picture and support him or help him to identify it.
The biggest challenge we have is on the identification of species because the court demands scientific ways of identifying the species.
Criminals will use evolving tactics to disguise illicit wildlife products. A European trafficking case involving concealed pangolin scales was cracked thanks to EU TWIX.
The Belgian customs came across a shipment that was declared as fish maws. Also they sent a photo on EU TWIX. And within 8 minutes, they got 3 replies from different agencies.
We saw an email from our French colleagues that was sent through the emailing list, and it had the same look. So we posted the picture, and they instantly said, "Well, it looks very similar. It is probably pangolin scales." And that gives us the first opportunity to seize and block the shipment.
Ce cas particulier des écailles de pangolin est intéressant parce qu'il permet de témoigner, c'est un bon exemple de commerce illégal allant de l'Afrique vers l'Asie en passant par l'Union européenne, dans le cas présent de la France.
Madagascar Fisheries made a seizure of shark fins in Nosy Bay, Madagascar. Images were posted to the SADC TWIX network, allowing identification of multiple CITES-listed shark species and the arrest of the individuals involved. In another case, a request for assistance was made by Mauritius Customs for the identification of seized tortoise species, with images sent to the SADC TWIX mailing list. Responses were received within 30 minutes to aid in the confirmation of the species identification, including information on similar cases in Madagascar.
TWIX has a database component in it. It can help you to analyze the trade routes, where it's coming from, where it's heading.
The TWIXs are very good to help spread expertise, spread knowledge, and help agencies find out about the latest trends. about illegal wildlife trade.
For a prosecutor like me, when you have new offences or modus operandi of committing offences, it's easy to understand how now the poachers are working, how do they operate, and the new trends that they're using.
From the platform itself, we had realized new trends in wildlife, new trends in illegal wildlife trade. 74 chameleons were seized in Austria, and they emanated from Tanzania. That was an eye-opener to us as wildlife enforcers, since we were concentrating on the big game, that is elephant tusks, skins, but none of us could have understood that trafficking of live chameleons could be done.
Law enforcement agencies in the region are excited about the opportunity to coordinate their efforts in combating illegal wildlife trade. In a recent seizure by the Togolese agency that involved the Maritime Police as well as the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources, 17 golden lion tamarins and 12 Lear's macaws were safely returned to their country of origin. This success story was shared among the users of the West Africa TWIX to specifically be aware of cases of trafficking between South America and the west coast of Africa.
TWIX does have quite a great potential to curb environmental crimes that we're facing. We're talking about poaching, we're talking about illegal wildlife trade. I look at it as a way of, a strategic way of trying to deal with a problem that is deeply rooted, and that is strategic also, because if you're talking about organized crime, these syndicates, they will not do things haphazardly. So there's no point in us doing things any differently. If anything, we're supposed to be better than them. So I look at TWIX, SADC TWIX, as one way of trying to strategically deal with the issue of illegal wildlife trade.
So we need those actionable information, and information that could actually aggravate an investigation, and information that could actually help most of the officers to understand new trends, to understand new routes, to understand, for example, guides that will make you learn more.
I have learned a lot, and I'm learning a lot. We are learning how to prosecute the cases, how to investigate the cases.
We are currently in the process of developing a TWIX mobile app. This will allow for an instant messaging type of functionality, which will aid in more immediate seizure decisions, improve response rates and time, and increase the number of users who are instantly accessible. Identification tools will be available in the field, and resources will be available offline.
Depuis l'implémentation en 2016 de Africa TWIX, j'ai remarqué effectivement que ma façon de travailler avec les autres organismes a beaucoup changé. Il y a encore d'autres pays qui n'ont pas encore, n'est-ce pas, adhéré à cet outil. J'invite en fait tous ces pays à pouvoir adhérer, à pouvoir s'inscrire, n'est-ce pas, à ce projet qui est vraiment très bénéfique pour les pays.
One thing I want to say, we should not lose hope with TWIX, considering what TWIX can do.
Those members whom we've trained, they've actually understood from the ongo that TWIX is the best actually.